why you can't find good technicians and why putting your wage up just won't fix it. Your job ad's been up for 9 weeks now. You've had 200 applicants. 99% of them are nowhere near what you're looking for. Half are from overseas. Probably another half have no local license, right? And they've never touched the kind of work that you actually do. Now, 6 were close to the mark, 2 didn't turn up to the interview, 1 wanted more than you pay your absolute best tech, another one you wouldn't even let near a customer's car, and 2 probably never ever returned your call. Meanwhile, you're still a tech short, you're booked out for 4 weeks in advance, and you're back on the tools this coming Saturday, missing the kids' sport again. So you're about to do the one thing that everyone usually tells you to do, and that's put the money up. But here's what most shop owners never know. The wage was never the reason you can't find a good quality technician, and putting the wage up just won't fix this. It's just going to cost you more to keep having the same problem over and over and over again. Now, the shops in your town that never seem to struggle for technicians, they're not paying more than you are, but they're doing something before their job ad ever goes up. And it's not what you think. Now, 200 people answered that ad, but not one of them could do the job. That's not a shortage of technicians. You're just looking at the wrong pool. Now, in a minute, I'm going to show you where the good technicians actually are, because they're not where you're looking. And everything I'm about to show you is built into a training of ours called No More Bad Hires, which you can get for $29. The link is in the description box below. You can grab it at the end of today's episode if you think it might be helpful for you. Let me draw you some water. Here's the water, just here at the top, right? Now, every qualified technician who could ever work for you is somewhere in this water. Not the ones who can't do the job, but the ones who can. The ones with the license, the ones with the experience, the ones with the good technical hands that you trust to take care of your customer's car. Now, they're all in here, and the only thing that separates them is the depth which you're willing to look to find them. Now, depth isn't how far they are away from the trade. Every layer in here is already qualified to do the kind of work that you do. But the depth I'm talking about is how far from you they actually are. Now, in this top band, right? This top band is pretty thin, right? It's the really shallow water. That's every technician who is currently looking for work right now. And by right now, I mean today. Now, it's true, there are some genuinely good technicians and good people who land in here, right? Maybe a shop's closed down. Maybe their family was on the move. Like, life just happened and they now need to look for a new opportunity in a different location. But it's usually, and most often, it's where everyone who got let go of ends up first. And it's the smallest layer, the shallowest layer in the water by a very, very long way. Let's look at this middle layer, right? The middle band. This is a little bit bigger, right? It's a little bit deeper than that top layer. Now, these are the qualified technicians who are currently employed. They're doing all right, and they're not looking right now. But they would move for the right shop. But they're not reading your job ads. And why would they, right? They've already got a job. But if we look at this bottom band, okay, deeper, the deepest water, we drop a line and let it sink to the bottom. Well, this is the biggest band of the lot. These are the qualified, employed, A-grade techs who are not looking at all. And they've never heard of you. And this is the bit that most owners get wrong about the bottom band. It isn't bounded by your postcode. Technicians move, right? For the right shop, they'll move suburbs, And in some cases, they'll move cities. In extreme cases, they'll even move states. Now, next year's hire is sitting in this band right now. They don't know you, and they don't know that you're going to be looking for a technician, right? And right now, they're changing someone else's brake pads, and they might be doing it 4 hours from where your shop currently is right now. Now, here's the other part, right? Watch this. Right at the top here, this bit, well, this is your ad, right? It floats. Your job ad only ever reaches this top band. The techs who are looking now, because they probably got let go due to bad attitude, bad habits, or just they're bad people, right? And every shop, either in your town or across your state, they're fishing in this same shallow water, this same thin stretch of the job pool. And they're looking on the same day, and they're probably using the exact same bait. So out of 200 applicants and nobody suitable isn't a mystery anymore. You dropped a line into the smallest, shallowest, most picked over layer of water, of talent pool that there ever actually is. Now, if you watched the previous episode to this, episode 27, you'll already recognize this shape: cold, warm, and hot. 3 bands. This is the same idea, but it's pointed at your customers, or that band, that shape was pointed at your customers instead of your technicians. Now, you already accept it with your customers. You know the person who's never heard of you costs more to win than the one who's already bought from you before. This is the same rule, but this time the person you're looking for is wearing overalls and they've got grease underneath their fingernails. Go back and watch that episode 27, if you missed it. Now, one of our engine room clients was 9 weeks into running an ad to recruit a new tech. They're a regional shop. They're a good operator. They genuinely believed that the trade, the industry, had emptied out of good quality technicians. So we asked them to sit down and write the name of every qualified tech that he knew who existed. Not the ones looking for work, but everyone that he knew of. Now, we got to 7. Then we asked him how many of those 7 had ever set foot in his workshop or heard him speak or knew what it was like to work inside his shop. The answer was 1 of them did. 6 weeks later, he hired one of the 7, not off an ad, off a conversation. See, the water is never empty. It's just that his line, his ad, was floating on top, the same as everyone else's, right? Now, and that's why we say to every single owner who tells us that, the trade is emptied out or it's so hard to find, good technicians these days, there is no shortage of good technicians. There's a shortage of good technicians who know you exist. And that is a different mindset to have. Now, if the good ones are quietly swimming further below the surface than you've been fishing, then why does every auto repair shop owner keep fishing on the surface? That's a great question, because when you go looking, it's because of when you go looking. Let's look over here, right? We call this the hiring merry-go-round. You'll recognize this. Here's what happens at the top, right? So at the top of the circle, one of your techs resigns. Maybe it was a good one, maybe it was a bad one, maybe it's one that you were happy to let go of, right? But either way, your tech resigns. What happens from there? Well, you're a tech short, the bays are backing up, and you've got cars that you've been promised to deliver, get ready to hand back to the customer by next Friday. So you do the one thing that almost every auto repair shop owner does: you post up your job ad, because that's what you think you do when you suddenly find yourself in a position where you need someone fast. Now, then you do a bunch of interviews, right? You get some applications in there and you decide to do a bunch of interviews. But in most cases, those interviews are all with a bad bunch. So you do the interviews and you do what everyone does. You make a poor choice. Why? Well, because even though you got the best candidate, they were still the best of a bad bunch, which unfortunately by association means they were probably already bad. So you just hired the best of the bad bunch, not the right person, not the best candidate. You simply made a poor choice. It's okay. Everyone's done it. We all have. It's what we call the dumb tax. And then, with no surprise, it doesn't work out, right? They've got a bad attitude, they're unreliable, or simply the quality that you're looking for isn't there, and for whatever reason, it doesn't work out. And then either they resign because they decided they weren't a fit for you, or you decided they they decided they weren't a fit for you, or you decided they weren't a fit for you. But either way, the tech resigns, and guess what? You find yourself right back on the hiring merry-go-round. You're back at the top and you're a tech short again. And this loop goes round and round and round and round. And that loop does something to you that's really easy to miss, right? Because you're not recruiting anymore. You're simply reacting to an event that happens time and time and time again. And a reaction can, and when you're reacting to the event of a tech resigning, right, then you can only ever choose from the talent pool that is looking around today. And that is the thin strip sitting on top of the talent pool. Every lap of the hiring merry-go-round is costing you real money. You've got the advertising, you've got the interviewing, you got the training that you poured into the technician who then ended up leaving anyway. There's the jobs that came back. There's the customers who didn't come back. And the bit that usually nobody counts, right? The good people already on your team who got sick of carrying a poor teammate who should have never been on your team to start with, right? That's how you lose two good techs just because you're keeping one bad tech. But the most expensive thing is not financial, and every lap teaches you a lesson. But unfortunately, in most cases, auto repair shop owners, they learn the wrong lesson out of it, right? The third time around, you're not saying, oh, my recruitment process is broken. You're actually saying, oh, there's no good techs out there. You buy into this industry-wide belief that it's just too hard to find good techs. So the loop, the hiring merry-go-round, actually manufactures the belief that it's hard to find good techs, and it's that belief that keeps you stuck in this self-fulfilling loop, the hiring merry-go-round. I've watched a shop go through 3 technicians over an 18-month period, right? Every single one of them were hired inside a week of the last tech walking out. 3 times he fished in the same shallow puddle of poor talent, and 3 times he got the slop that was sitting on the top. The trouble was when he went looking, it wasn't who was out there. So now you've got 2 halves, right? You've got the understanding of the 3 depths of talent and the desperation loop here, right? So you've got 2 halves of why this keeps happening. You're fishing in the wrong water. You're not looking deep enough. And the problem is because you only go fishing when you're desperate to fill a hole. Stay with me because the fix is 1 page long, and it's a page that you're already probably writing incorrectly, right? I'm going to help you change that on today's episode. But if you want that page written for you, then that's our program called No More Bad Hires. It's $29 and it's yours for life. It's got 9 modules, 8 templates, and a job ad generator called Jazzy that writes the job ads for you, that pulls the right technicians in. The link is in the description box below. Let's move on. Now, almost nobody in this industry has worked this one thing out, and that thing is that recruitment, like recruiting for a new technician, is an exercise in marketing. It's not an exercise in administration, right? Your job ad is not more paperwork. It's a sales page. And the technician who's reading it, reading your job ad, is your customer, right? And we say here, you got to sell the sizzle before you sell the sausage, but most people are selling the sausage first, right? Here's what your job ad probably looks like. It's saying something like this. Let me move this out of the way. Right? Here's what it's saying to your market. Right. You must have 5 years of experience. You must have your own tools. You must have a current license. You must own your own transport. You must be reliable. You must be ready for an immediate start, right? And it just goes on, blah 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 blah. It sounds the same as everyone else's job ad, right? This is the sausage, and the problem is, it's just simply a list of all the things that you want. The ad's about you. There is not a single line in here that makes a good technician think to themselves, well, now I can see how my Monday gets better, right? It's actually all about you. Let me put this another way for you, right? You would never advertise a service special by listing what the customer has to bring to you, right? You wouldn't run an ad that says, must have a car, must have a credit card, must be available Tuesday. You do not write an offer or put an offer out to your market that says that. But that's exactly the way almost every auto repair shop is advertising for the most important job in their shop, right? But the right way, the right way to run an ad is to give them the sizzle. Talk about what they get when they come to you, right? Talk about the equipment they're going to get to use. Talk about who they get to learn from. Talk about the real hours that they work. Heck, if you've seen us for long enough, you will have heard us talk about the 4-day work week that we introduced into this industry, that a bunch of our engine room members and $1 million mechanic boardroom clients run inside their businesses. That is almost the number one thing that helps them attract A-grade, top quality talent, right? Tell them about the systems that they're going to get to use inside your workshop that keeps the chaos down and the culture up. And more importantly, talk about who they're going to become in 2 years' time, right? Like, tell them whether the jobs are going to be booked properly, or they're going to spend the day chasing parts that should have been on the bench, right? Tell them whether they're going to get treated like a professional. And yeah, paint a picture of a better future for them that makes them start to think about how much better their life could be if they came and worked for you. And think about, right, who each side of this board is actually talking to. The sausage ad, right? This one over here, it can only ever appeal to someone who needs a job because essentially it's a list of hurdles, right? And only a desperate person jumps over hurdles to get a quick job. Whereas the Sizzle ad over here, right? The Sizzle ad is the only thing on earth that ever reaches someone in the middle band or the lower band, right? And who are they? Well, that's the employed technician who wasn't looking for a new job anyway. They're not scanning ads for a license requirement. They're weighing up whether Monday somewhere else beats the Monday where they're currently working right now. If you give them nothing to weigh up, if you don't offer any contrast between what they have and what they can get, well, they're going to stay put exactly where they are. And this is the difference between a six-figure shop and a successful, profitable, enjoyable seven-figure shop. It's right here on this board. The six-figure shop advertises a vacancy, but the seven-figure shop advertises a future, right? One ad is asking, one ad is offering. Now, sit with this one for me, please. You are not short of technicians. The industry is not short of technicians. You're short of a compelling reason for a good technician to leave where they currently work now. I'll say that again. You're not short of technicians. You're short of a compelling reason for a good technician to leave where they're currently working. That is a big difference. Here's 3 questions for you right now, wherever you are. Question 1, pull up the last job ad you ran. Read it back and count the lines. How many of the lines are about what you want? How many of the lines are about what they get? If it's worse than 3-1, 3 of what you want and 1 of what they get, then you've found one of the very first big problems we see time and time and time again. And you don't need a bigger budget to fix it. You need about 20 minutes and a rewrite. That's it. Number 2, name 3 qualified technicians you'd be happy to have working in your shop tomorrow. Not people looking for work, right? Not the ones that are looking up here now, but the ones that might be sitting somewhere down here, right? 3 who are working somewhere else right now. And don't stop at your postcode, right? If they'd move for the right shop, then they count inside your top 3. And if you can't get to 3, then you don't have a recruitment problem, you have a visibility problem. And that is a much better problem to have because you can actually do something about it, and probably this month. Number 3, if your best tech resigned this afternoon, who's the first person you would call? If the answer is, oh, you know what, if my tech resigned, I'd post an ad. Well, then you're actually starting from 0 every single time you need to go into recruitment mode. But the owners who never seem to struggle, they always have a name to call, right? Because they've built a list 12 months before they actually needed it. We have a saying here inside the Workshop Whisperer, always be recruiting, right? If the right person walks past your shop or comes looking at your shop at the wrong time, still take their name down, right? Luck's got nothing to do with it. Planning and preparation has everything to do with it, and it separates the struggling shops from the smooth sailing, successful shops. Here's the close, right? Here's the part that we want to land on. An ad, right? An ad reaches the people who are available, but reputation reaches the technicians who are good. If you're desperate, well, then you hire whoever's left over. But when you've got a pipeline, right? Pipeline of people, that allows you to choose the best quality candidate and get you off the hiring merry-go-round. So you're not competing for technicians on wages. You're competing on whether working for you beats where they're working right now. So stop advertising a job, please, and start selling a shop that's worth leaving for. Now, if this episode has you thinking differently about your business and you'd like to find out how we help auto repair shop owners stop hiring out of desperation, you can click the links in the description box below. There's no pressure to do anything. There's absolutely no sales calls. There's just a whole heap of clear information so you can decide if now is the right time, and we here at the Workshop Whisperer might be the fit to give you some help with your auto repair shop. I'll see you on the next episode of the A Grade Auto Repair Shop Show.